Hello everyone and welcome to Fake News with Josh Macuga, the first and only 100% factual fake news program on the internet and maybe TV. It kind of depends on how you watch the internet. Whatever. Recently, the movie Aquaman passed $1 billion at the global box office, and as such, the internet deemed it important to make sure you all know just exactly why Aquaman made that much money when it was only sort of well-liked. I don't know, I haven't really seen it. That being said, here is a totally arbitrary list about why it made $1 billion. Number 5, swimming! People love swimming. Every year, high net worth individuals invest in beach, lake, and river houses in order to look at water in hopes that one day they can swim in it. Not only that, but each year, the swimming lesson industry pays out close to $3 billion in illegal cash transactions pocketed by teenagers who are still claimed by dependents by their parents. This love of swimming has convinced children all over the world that they themselves can become an Aquaman or part of the Aquaman fraternity. This does not include the people that have actually tried to find the lost city of Atlantis, because this place does not exist. Many people think that it does, but it doesn't. I had an uncle who tried. He borrowed a lot of money from my dad, and he died before he could pay it back. My family still pissed about it. Number 4, Amber Heard has red hair. Red hair seems to be something people like. I've seen some people with bright red hair or light red hair, pink hair that looks red in certain lights, and of course this has led to a large group of people embracing Amber Heard's red hair in Aquaman. This overlooked subsect of the population that has red hair has rarely been represented in movies, and the recent string of attacks on gingers and non-gingers alike with red hair is a societal injustice. But since Amber Heard's turn as Queen, the red-headed people of the world have united in unity. This movie's diversity is 100% responsible for more people with red hair venturing to the theaters. Number 3. Number 3, the Game of Thrones effect. The Game of Thrones effect is a real thing. A recent survey taken by the World Census Bureau states that 99.9% of the population watches Game of Thrones, making it the most watched show behind the series finale of MASH and, of course, the one where Ross wears leather pants. With this Game of Thrones effect, most everyone saw the billboard for Aquaman and immediately thought, oh, this is Game of Thrones underwater, and thus we must partake as to not look foolish at a dinner party with friends who serve food on plates with decorations on them, or as my parents called it, the plates which shall not be touched. With this Game of Thrones underwater comparison, the large population of people who still complain that the 97 chapters of the book, which were actually underwater, but HBO didn't have the budget for it, finally got their underwater Iron Throne, and thus $1 billion. Number 2, communicating with fish. Now, the old adage goes, give a man a fish, feed him for a day. Teach a man to talk to fish and watch him make $1 billion. In Aquaman, not only does he talk to fish, but he also rides them and uses their scales as body armor to protect him from over-salt exposure, common with most wetsuits or people with extreme perspiration issues. The ability to communicate with fish has long been an urban legend with those in the scuba, snorkel, freediving community, but with this story based on true life and true events, we now know it's possible, and because of this, $1 billion are now being invested into Ocean Force, a special ops program at local pools which will in fact teach us all how to talk to fish in hopes that one day we can finally merge our two worlds in harmony. No longer will we have to live in fear of a fish revolution similar to that of late 17th century Rhode Island. It happened. And finally, the Little Mermaid crossover. Your number one reason that Aquaman crossed the $1 billion threshold? The Little Mermaid crossover. Now, we all know that Disney is currently the most powerful company in the world, right behind Chipotle, and their upcoming re-release of the long-awaited Little Mermaid sequel is being talked about from New York to Los Angeles and London to Tokyo. But what the world was not prepared for was the appearance of the Little Mermaid in Aquaman, and of course the hero turned villain in the form of Sebastian the Crab. Some called that lovely Jamaican crab a friend to all, but just like Jar Jar Binks, he was in fact a Sith. And because of this crossover with the Aquaman world, we now have the first ever shared universe between DC Comics, Marvel, Star Wars, and Disney Animation. Something Gerald Ford talked about in his inaugural address in 1972. And for those top 5 reasons, Aquaman and his gang of Aquamen have reigned supreme at the box office, earning over $1 billion. Will the Meg be next? We shall see. I'm Josh Macuga, and that's Fake News.